Hey everybody, it's Anna here, and I was thinking about something today, and this might seem harsh or like, did you just say that? But I'm pretty sure it's the truth. And it's that stress is a choice. And what I mean by that is whenever you're put into a situation, whether it be almost getting into a car crash or having to make an airplane a flight, having to make a flight on a certain time. You know how like dads are always like, well, we need to get there at least 10 hours beforehand so we don't miss it. And then, God forbid, you're there 9 hours before and their stress and cortisol levels are up the wazoo. Well, I was thinking about this and I was kind of observing some people who always seem to be very nonchalant, even when it seems like all hell is breaking loose. And I found myself really admiring those people because to be able to keep your cool and keep your calm when the expectation is to lose your shit, I find is like a really amazing skill to have. And I thought about myself, and then I also thought about kids my age. And there are people my age, college students, who have the same exact problems and the same exact things on their plate as me, and they're actually losing their shit. Like, their cortisol levels are through the roof. They're so bad that they have to take medication for it. And I was thinking about this, and I was like, wait, while we have the same problems in mind, I'm not losing it, but they are. Now, granted, people are, different from one another. People are going to vary, of course. But I think at the end of the day, choosing to let an assignment overtake all of your thoughts, and then in return that consuming you and turning into overthinking and then feeding into that and then letting yourself get stressed over those thoughts you've created, that's a choice at the end of the day. And I think that might be harsh for some people to hear, but like, stress is a choice. Your environment might be stressful, your life might be stressful, but letting whether or not you let your environment affect you, that's up to you. Now, granted, I think some stress may be inevitable, right? I don't know what. I can't give a great example for that, but you can also manage your stress, right? I don't think we're ever taught how to manage our stress. We're taught that we should be stressed in stressful situations and that life itself is stressful. Like, that's what we're taught. We're never taught how to cope with stress, how to manage stress, how to lower stress, how to eliminate stress. We're just taught that stress is there and it'll always be there. But I don't think that's necessarily the case because, while I don't have all the scientific facts and information and history on stress, what I do know is that way back when we were like Homo sapien, or wait, are we still Homo sapien? I don't know. Back when we were like Neanderthals, I think, or cavemen, stress was something used to trigger our flight or fight response so that we could live, so that we could survive. Now, having that same sort of response to having your assignments pile up seems a little silly to me. Like, it's not the same thing. Like, if you turn your assignments in, it's not going to dictate whether you live or die. Unless it feels like your parents are going to kill you if you don't get them in. But, like, they're not going to. Unless, I don't know, it's an exception and that's pretty bad and I hope you're okay, but like, I'll give this example today actually. So, I was driving today and it was one of those weird roads where, okay, I was driving in this side, the other people would be driving this way towards me, I was driving this way. But in the middle there was like this like concrete sliver thing where if you were to come from a road over here to cross my lane, you could like pause where the concrete thing is and then wait for these cars to pass in order to safely get into this lane. So you're crossing over like two lanes to get into the one that's going this way. Well, I was driving this way and a car was waiting here. And I saw the car like well beyond or way before I even got close to it. But they decide to pull out right as I'm just driving right in front, right? So, and then they decide to like pause, take a nice long pause in the middle of my road instead of like just pulling into the middle area where you're supposed to wait. They decided to just like linger in my lane. And granted, I didn't have a stop sign or a stoplight, not to my knowledge at least. I mean, I don't think there was a stop sign. There wasn't. So anyways, they're just like lingering in the road and I'm going like, I don't know, 40 something miles. I don't know, the speed limit. Maybe a little bit over. Probably a little bit over. But I literally almost T-boned this person. Like I really like actually like was really a little too close for my liking. Probably like a couple inches off. So last minute I do a quick swerve around them and I didn't honk. I didn't get angry or anything like that. I was just kind of like, ugh, really? But like looking back in retrospect, like no, that could have been really detrimental and like that could have been really bad because I would have hit the passenger side too. But also, why did that person stop? Like, obviously, I would have won that insurance battle, please. Why were you stopped in the middle of my road? Anyways, but that's not the point. The point is I didn't get angry. I didn't get stressed out over the situation. I didn't flip my shite and go think to myself, oh my god, what was that freaking person thinking? Idiot, dumbass. Like, I didn't flip out or anything like that. I kept my composure. I kept my cool because, well, I think, first of all, the immediate response to that for the most normal people would be to flip out. But let's take a look at that and break that down. Would yelling and honking my horn, would that have helped that situation? No, clearly that driver was already, like, not doing well to begin with, because why would you stop in the middle of the road when you're trying to cross a lane? Like, that's just idiotic in itself. So does that person need more fury from me? No, because that's not going to help anything. Like, when the dads are planning to go to the airport 10 hours in advance and they're stressing about it, does that stress help anybody? No, it makes actually everybody stress and then like angry and then fight and scream and yell on the car ride to the airport. Like, please name a scenario in modern day life when stress has actually helped a situation and not hurt it and made it worse. 'Cause I can't think of a time, you know, going back to that caveman example, yeah, I can see where stress have helped us because we chose to fly and then survive and live whatever was trying to kill us. But to have that same response now when you're just going to the airport, it's like nothing's trying to kill you. Like take a deep breath. Take a breather. It's okay. And now it's obviously a lot easier to say don't have stress, choose not to be stressed, but rather than doing it because it's been so programmed into our brains from a young age, like, oh, these little things are stressful. If this doesn't happen and this doesn't happen, then oh shit, like I gotta be all stressed. But that's not the case. Like, it's gonna be okay because let me ask you this. Name a time something's never not turned out okay. Name a time where you haven't been caught by some weird coincidence or some random opportunity. Name a time where you've not been saved by something, because even if you don't think you have been, you have. Like, name a time where something actually never worked out in the end, because it always works out in the end. Also, I got my hair cut, but that's not the point. The point is is I do believe that while stress might be the immediate response we go to in certain situations, it doesn't have to be the one we stick with. And we don't have to let it consume us either. Like, there's kids my age really worried about their future careers and what's gonna happen after college. Okay, first of all, why don't you just get through college before you even think about any of that? Second of all, you're gonna land on your feet. It's okay, kiddo. It's okay. You're gonna land on your feet and you're gonna do just fine. Chances are you got someone in your life, one person at least, that you can rely on and go to for help. And if you don't, guess what? Make yourself that person. Everything always, always, always works out in the most weird, unexplainable ways. Everything always turns out fine. Okay? And look, stress is something that I think consumes our society more than ever. And it's a choice, though, to keep letting it consume your life. Like, there's people who live these high stress lifestyles, and granted, it might in the moment seem super stressful, but take a step back from what's happening. Take a breather. Know it's going to be okay. Know that while it might feel like the end of the world and everything's spinning and it might feel like crap right now, take a deep breath, because in retrospect, it's not that big of a deal. It's not that big of a deal. It'll figure itself out. And I don't even mean to be like, believe in some woo-hoo-ha, whatever the heck. No, I just mean this in like the most genuine way. We get so caught up in our stupid little issues that we forget, like, okay, hold on, we're on a rock in expanding infinite space. Like, okay, we're gonna die one day. Okay, it's really not that big of a deal. Choosing stress is just accelerating your life, and it's taking a lot of joy away from things that should be pleasant and happy. And like, even if right now, say you hate your job, you hate your life, you're living in a shack, does stress help that situation? Name a situation, no, I already asked that. Look, no matter what your situation is, no matter what it is you're stressing about, ask yourself if that's even helping. Because if it's not, let it go. If stress is not making you do better, making you try harder, making you somehow gain more of knowledge or I don't know, anything. If stress is not helping the situation or it's not helping you, let it go. You don't need it. At least, you might be poor, but at least you're not stressed. That's something that most people can't say. You know how many people are stressed? I don't know, probably you can ask if you ask 10 people, I bet you 8 of them would say they're totally stressed. Honestly, probably even all 10 would. But there's really no point. Like, if I were to jump in the same boat as my peers and be so stressed about my future and my career and where I'm gonna land after college, how is that helping my current situation? It's not. It really isn't. So, all I'm saying is... Oh, and here's the thing, too. Say you could make an argument and say stress does help your situation because you're taking action to try to prevent whatever is whatever you don't want to happen. But here's the thing: is the action's coming from a place of fear. It's coming from a place of scaredness. So it doesn't even seem like it's not like the most authentic or genuine choices you could make, if that makes sense. Because when you're acting from a place of fear, a place of scaredness, it's not the same place as where you should be making those choices from. All I'm saying is have a level, clear-headed mind, because everything's always going to work out in the end. You're always going to land on your feet. Even if it takes a couple of bad landings, you will land on your feet. I assure you. So, I know, this is a big one. Stress is a choice. Who would have thought? I believe it is. But this isn't to tell you not to be stressed out, because that doesn't do anything. It's just to simply try and open your eyes and think about your stress in a different way. And in the hopes that maybe, just maybe, thinking about it a different way might help you be able to rewire your own brain somehow to make things a little easier on you, because it's not fun when you're stressed. Raise your hand if you think being stressed is fun. Who loves thinking that the world's gonna die? Who loves thinking that everything's going to shit? Nobody does. That's like one of the worst feelings, is feeling stressed. So, it's just to really give people a different outlook on stress, because I do believe it is a choice. Like, sometimes it's our immediate response, but choosing to stick with that feeling, that's the choice part. Or you can just address it immediately, and when you think you're about to be stressed, flip your switch to being calm. Say it's okay. Catch it before it spreads. Anyways, I have to do my schoolwork now. I'm not stressed about it because it's like whatever. This assignment's not the end of the world. But I would rather talk than do work. Yeah. Anyways, I also baked these really good chocolate chip cookies today. Had 5 of them. They were really good. Anyways, okay. Stress is a choice. So choose what you can and try to help yourself and lower your cortisol levels. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Okay, Anna, signing off.